Good evening and welcome to a very special edition of Fire Black Press Live. Soul and R&B singer and four-time Grammy Award nominee Eric Benét has maintained a dedication to crafting authentic music that engages the soul. He has said, "I'm not chasing any current whatever. It's about music that gives me goosebumps and touches my soul." That's always been a good barometer for me. The singer-songwriter has a recent top five urban single, Sunshine, and the pure soul R&B track provides the perfect backdrop for Eric Benet's heartfelt reflections on a relationship that has lost its spark. The hit has since sparked a remix version featuring Tamia, the singer's memorable duet partner on his career breakthrough hit 1999's Spend My Life With You. And who doesn't remember that song? For his millions of fans who've been longing to see him, the wait is officially over with new shows announced every month for his Eric After Dark for the Grown and Sexy series that includes some very special guests, which already has included John B. We have the privilege of welcoming the one and only Eric Benét. What's up, Eric?
Hey, what's going on? How you doing? Thank you for that introduction. That was humbling.
Oh man, you've done some great stuff, and just to prove that, one of my great publishers has come along to do this very special interview with me from the Dallas area, from the Texas Metro News. Cheryl Smith, say hi, Cheryl.
Hello there. How are you?
Hey, Cheryl, I'm feeling pretty good. I
Yeah,
thought I would get some fresh air as we did this interview because uh, we gotta keep as much vitamin D in our skin and our body while we're dealing with all this corona mess.
definitely, most definitely. And loving the hat.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, and speaking of that, Eric, I guess I'll ask you that before we get into all the great music. How have you been dealing with this pandemic?
Yeah, it definitely has been an interesting period. I think everybody's in the music industry is just trying to figure out how to professionally maneuver through this. Um, so that there's many aspects of the answer to that question. There's the professional aspect, there's the spiritual aspect, there's the how do I just deal with my sanity when I feel so disconnected to the people and the places that I used to go when I wanted, a little island of an oasis of emotional relief. We're such, we are such social animals, right? Human beings. And then you take that ability to see your friend, your brother, your sister, and hug them and sit down and talk to them and share a meal and pat each other on the back and just laugh out loud without any masks or any restraint. The absence of all that, there's definitely a cost that we have to pay for that. There's an
Yeah.
emotional cost, and so we all have to creatively figure out how we deal with that. I'm fortunate enough to be with um, my family, my immediate family, my wife and my daughters through this struggle. And in that situation, folks get on folks' nerves too. So so it's been it's had its challenges, but it also lends itself to speaking for myself. I've felt almost like prolific when it comes to creativity. Like I've written songs, I've developed stories, I've and I reached out to the Omnis people about doing this incredible series that we're doing called Eric After Dark, where I can flex all of those creative muscles, all those musical muscles, all of those reaching out to my public uh, desires, all in one fell swoop at Eric After Dark. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, and you and John B, didn't you just recently do something? You got something coming up too. Want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, John B is, I don't have to say this, is such a phenomenal talent and an incredible guy, father, man, husband. And a few years ago, we were both asked to be part of a project being produced by Ray Chu called One Beat, One Soul. And it was a project that was recorded in Havana, Cuba. So it was an opportunity for us to go over there and record in Cuban studios, uh, write songs in Cuba inspired by the whole vibe and feel and the musical majesty of Cuba was all in the inspiration of the song. So John and I were part of that, and that project actually came out a few years ago. One Beat, One Soul. But the project that John and I are on now is Eric After Dark, which is happening Wednesday. Which, yo, I like to think of it as myself and the people at Omnis are setting a new standard for streaming live music content. I mean, because we've all seen the IG lives and the technical issues that happen, and sometimes the train wrecks that happen technically, or the signal ain't coming in right, or the mics ain't working right, or something will happen, and it's like, I think there's been an adjustment period during this quarantine where we figure out, okay, how are we going to do this seamlessly? And it's been a challenge. So, but I think what we will accomplish Wednesday is going to be, as I said, setting a new standard for what a streaming musical experience can be.
And tell your fans, Eric, where they can see it, what time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. So 8 p.m. That's Pacific Standard Time. And you can go to Eric After Dark, www.ericafterdark.com.
Great.
And we'll take you right there to the show. And here's the best part. You know what it's going to cost? Nothing. It's free. Like, we're giving this to you free. We're giving this to you from our soul. We're giving it to you because A, we love to do it, but B, it's needed. People need this right now. They need some good, healing, soulful, from the heart music. And we didn't want to charge people for that. So so please enjoy this Wednesday night event for free.
Absolutely. And Cheryl Smith, we love that. Free, right?
Hey, wonderful. And you can't beat it. And then also, it's interesting because you were describing John B, and you sounded like you were describing yourself.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because John and I, when we talk about each other's music, we end up giving each other the same compliments. So I appreciate you saying that.
Well, I know, and this was about 20 years ago, you came to Dallas, and I got a call at the time. I was with KKDA Radio, and I do a celebrity bowl-a-thon. And they said, we have this young man, phenomenal and really community oriented and wanted to be with his people. And so then I said, well, they said he wanted to come by the bowl-a-thon. And I said, well, who is it? They said, well, you may know him from this. And I said, just tell me who it is. And so then they said, Eric Benét. I said, okay. I said, please tell him, please come on by. And you came by. And that's the beauty of it, because some people don't go anywhere where they are not paid to go. So we talk about free, and you came by, gave out posters, visited with folks, and this is Dick Gregory was there, and others, and this is the first year. In fact, we have it every June, and we didn't have it this June, of course, but we raised money for scholarships. But it was that part of you knowing your wanting to be in touch with their people and reach out to them. And this appears to be exactly what you're doing with this Eric After Dark.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I mean, I think I've always been that way. Like, yeah, I like making money, but 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 what motivates me more than making money is just being of service, right? Like creating something that I know that there is a need. There is some kind of visceral human need for something right now, and that motivates me a lot more than just going to get a check. And I think that's kind of been like the way I've always been. It's like I when I was a kid, you know, I would fantasize about being a musician, not because I fantasize so much about being famous and having a mansion and being rich. I would fantasize, the fantasy to me as a kid was being able to travel to places where people just needed to hear some good music, and me being the facilitator of that need. That's what excites me. And but I appreciate you saying that.
Well,
Yeah.
how did you morph music to acting?
Can you rephrase? Can you say that one more time? It was just a little hard to hear you.
Yes, how did you morph from singing to acting? Was acting something you always wanted to do also?
Excellent question, Cheryl. You know, it's like, it's really interesting. Like as I write songs, to me they feel like little 4-minute movies. Like it
Okay.
feels like as I'm writing a song, in my mind, I have the leading lady, I have the leading man, I have the narrative, I have the setting, I have um, I have the storyline all in my mind before I start coming up with the melody and the lyrics. So in my own strange way, I felt like I've always made my songs have been like little 4-minute movies, right? So if I can be completely honest, I'm much more a storyteller and
Oh,
excited by being able to tell a story than to be an actor.
Yeah.
And I think that yeah, I think I have the film that unfortunately because of Corona was postponed. We were supposed to be wrapped with my first movie a month ago. But obviously, like everybody else, Rona was laughing at my plans, and hopefully we can resume production in November. But yeah, that's how when I was coming up with the original story for the film, it was almost like it felt like a song in the sense that, like I said, when I'm writing a song, I've already like laid the story out in my mind, and I had this one particular story that just popped in my head, and it was going to take a little bit longer than 4 minutes to tell that story. So I just naturally told myself, okay, well, this isn't like a 4 or 5 minute deal. This sounds more like a movie. So I think the desire to act uh, came more so from a desire to accurately tell the story. I can't imagine, I couldn't imagine casting someone else in this movie as the lead role other than me to tell the story. Probably no more than I would. I mean, I've written songs for other people, but I always feel like I can sing them best because I came up like that melody, that one little run, like I came up with that. So I'm probably the best person to be able to sing that song. So I feel the same way about my film.
We are talking with one of the best voices music has seen ever, Eric Benét, and he still looks like the Eric Benét from 1999. Only he has the gray in the beard. You see, he's got
Yeah,
the
man.
Elmo shirt, and he's looking
Yeah,
like he's
man.
waiting for Bono and U2 at that Joshua tree behind him. So that's the only difference from 1999 Eric Benet and 2020 Eric Benet.
You are too kind, sir. You are too kind. I definitely don't look like 1992 Eric Benet, but I'll take it. I'll take it.
Hey, Eric, one of your fans, Amelia Santana, says, "What's up, Eric? I grew up in Milwaukee. I know your cousin George Nash. I wanted to know
Yes.
what high school you went to."
What's up? What's up, Amelia? Yeah, George. George is my cousin who I've written so many songs with as a kid. George was that older cousin who was that musical. Like George could play the piano. George could play the guitar, and George found out that I sang and I was writing a little something, and so George and I have been writing some of my biggest hits. I wrote with my cousin George. But yeah, I went to Milwaukee Tech is what it was called when I went. When I graduated in, damn, dare I say it, 1984. Oh,
So wait a minute,
1980.
Eric. George, is that the inspiration for Georgie Porgy?
No, no, I wish George would get a kick out of that. I wish. I mean, Georgie Porgy is actually a cover. It's one of those songs like I wish I wrote that song, but I know you know this, but the legendary band Toto wrote and originally recorded Georgie Porgy. Georgie Porgy was one of those covers that happened because I was in the studio with my dear friends. They are a production slash R&B group from back in the day called Something for the People. And they suggested, it was one of those hanging out in the studio nights, many of those nights where you're drinking and you're playing cards. And somebody said, you know what would be dope? If you did a cover of Georgie Porgy. And I thought, you know what? That's a damn good idea. So I think we immediately just started putting together a groove. And so, yeah.
Somebody's, I talked about your Elmo shirt and stuff, but somebody's really digging your hat. I just saw somebody comment on your hat. They said it's mint.
Thank you. Thank you. This hat has seen many miles. I've taken this hat like all over the world.
So Eric, we're with the great Eric Benet. This is Black Press Live. In fact, it kicks off our week in which we are celebrating 193 years of the Black Press with a virtual convention this week. We have a number of special guests, but none to kick it off better than Eric Benet. Eric, we know that success never comes as easy as it appears to those who look on the outside. Is there's something that you've done that you are more proud of than anything else?
Oh man, a couple of those moments come to mind, but the first one that came to mind when you asked the question was getting a call from the late great Maurice White from Earth, Wind and Fire. This was probably a good 15 years ago. And, I, like so many other musicians, grew up not only in awe, but a student, a pupil of Earth, Wind and Fire. Like everybody else, would listen to the songs because the melodies were magical and the music just felt good and made me want to dance. But as a musician and as a songwriter, I would study those arrangements. And Earth, Wind and Fire arguably have had the best arrangements in R&B. There ain't nothing simple about an Earth, Wind and Fire arrangement and song structure. So from the horn arrangement to the chord structure to the way Maurice and Philip used to lay the vocals down. So anyway, all that to say, when I got a call from Maurice White talking about, it was so surreal, it was like, hey man, his sickness had progressed pretty far at this point. And I believe his wife was telling me that he was going through a few months where he was feeling pretty good. So he was able to like reach out and call me, and this this very wise, raspy voice was on the other end of the telephone saying, "Hey man, I've been paying attention to you since you came out." And to hear somebody like Maurice White say that to me was just, it made me feel like I'm definitely doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And he asked me to come by the studio and to write some songs, because Earth, Wind, and Fire was about to go into the studio and record a new project. And he loved the way that I wrote, and would I come by, and oh my God, it was literally a dream come true. I have a few moments like that in my career that made me feel like, okay, maybe I ain't never won no Grammy, but I can't imagine winning any accolade feeling better than one of my idols reaching out to me to tell me, yo, I want to write with you because you do it right. And that,
Yeah,
actually, if I could share one more moment, I
absolutely.
was I was in New York, and I was at a radio station, and you guys have been in the business a long time, so you know when you come out with a new single, you make your rounds at all the radio stations, and you sit down, you talk to the DJs, and you often meet other recording artists as they're leaving, or you're about to come in. So I was about to do an interview in New York, and Luther Vandross,
Mm.
woo, man, oh man, Luther Vandross was just leaving, and he had to stop me. He was like, wait, Eric Benét, I want to talk to you. And I'm the type of person where, you know, I especially when it comes to like a Maurice White or Stevie Wonder or Luther Vandross, like I'm not just going to like run up to them. Like I think it's my natural inclination to just give them the respect of their space, right? So he was like, no, you come here. I want to talk to you. And Luther told me, not everybody sings right. Not everybody touches me when they sing. And he said, you young man, you do it right, and your voice touches me. And I mean, to hear somebody like Luther Vandross tell me that, I almost broke out in tears.
Wow.
So, you know, when I get recognized by greats, it like I said, man, that to me that's better than any Grammy nomination.
Yeah. Well, you
You know
know,
what?
oh, go ahead. I'm sure. I'm sorry. I don't want to step on you there.
That's it. Let's flip that, because there are some out there who would say the same thing about you. So
Mm.
looking at the landscape, who out there would you pass those words on to?
Wow, that's dope. I love there's quite a few artists out there that are really dope. I mean, of course I love the musicianship. Okay, y'all gonna have me have an honest moment right here.
Yeah.
Oftentimes in the music industry, especially for people like me and my you know, my contemporaries who are, I mean, I consider to be on the same level, like musically as me and artistically as me. We have our own little side conversations that we probably would never have publicly. But but oftentimes in the music industry, people get hyped, and in our opinions, undeservedly so.
Hmm.
You know, it's like, and I'm not trying to take nothing away from like nobody's talent, but sometimes it's like, yo, y'all really like losing your mind over that particular artist, and we might be like, yo, we were at that show and their pitch was all over the place. You know, I think they, you know, if they didn't have auto tune, it's like they just got exposed live because it wasn't sweet. Anyway, so so there are artists out there who actually deserve more recognition than they're getting, who deserve the accolades. I mean, I'll think of a few. Lianne La Havas. Do you know that? You know that young lady? She's from England. She's an incredible singer, songwriter, guitarist. HER.
Yeah,
HER is actually getting a lot of hype right now, and deservedly so. Deservedly so. She's really dope. Um, I like I like Lucky Day. I like I don't know. I mean, it's a few out there that are actually really, really promising and really dope.
yeah. And you mentioned.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No, I wanted to follow up on that, show, because he mentioned HER or her. How would they
Hmm.
bring it? Can you see yourself doing a duet with her, much like with Tamia years ago? Because she is awesome.
I can. The question is, can her management see it? I can see that mess happening tonight. I'll go into a studio and I'm sure you can just tell, like with some people, some artists, just the way that they phrase. I can tell that they write, and I can tell, just by the way they phrase their melodies. Uh, but with somebody like that, I can tell that if she and I were in the studio and we were just vibing and writing music, we would come up with something crazy.
Yeah. Cheryl might ask you to sing, but go ahead, Cheryl. I know you got a question.
Don't ask me to sing right now.
The backdrop and everything is perfect. It's interesting because you're in an industry that will chew you up and spit you out.
Ain't it the truth?
And you happen to mention folks, and the first name that popped into my head when I thought about not getting their just due, I thought of Phyllis Hyman.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh, what a voice, what a talent, what a presence. Right.
Yes. And so for being in the industry and seeing folks time and time again, because lots of times it's not the talent, is who they push out at that moment. How challenging is it for you to do what you want?
Yeah, that's great. It can be frustrating and challenging, but I think one of the things that I feel has done me justice is, the good parenting of my mother and father, where one of the gems of advice that they gave me a long time ago is like, never give energy to the negative. Always concentrate on the positive things that you are doing in your life, both professionally and personally. And then all the rest of the noise will just start to slowly fade away. People enjoy tearing you apart. It's like a sport. It's like it's it's like the anguish of your life is often the only entertainment that seems to satisfy some people. So in saying that, whether you are winning or whether you are losing, to some people, they're just going to trying to find things to tear you down. So if you give any energy to that type of negativity, yeah, that's a losing battle. So yeah, there have been times in my career and in my life where, yeah, obviously, I've been I've had to deal with it too. So my my parents' advice just comes in loud and clear in my ear. Like, you know what? Don't concentrate on that. Concentrate on that dope song you just thought about. Concentrate on that, the concept that you just had. Concentrate on the movie that you're writing. And then all the rest of the noise will just go away.
Yeah, absolutely. And Eric, we know that success never comes as easy as it appears, right?
Never, never. Like by the time by the time people hear about you, they think, oh wow, they must have just pulled you right out of working at UPS and now you're a star. No, there were many years that happened before I got here.
And so many people, they work to survive, but how does it feel to not only be able to do creative work that you clearly love, but to also have found success?
Yeah, I never that's a great question. I like to feel an immense amount of gratitude for what I have in my life now, and where I'm at, and my beautiful family, and I have a beautiful home, and yeah, I'm able to, well, I don't know about Rona threw a wrench in this, but I'm able to stand in front of people and sing in front of thousands of people, and that is success. To some people, that is the definition of success. Success to me is uh, being surrounded by love by doing something that you love every day, and uh, whether I'm well, I was about to say whether I'm selling records or not. I got to remind myself that this is no longer an industry of selling records. Whether I am
Yeah.
whether I'm one of the most streamed artists or not, as long as I have the people around me who I love and who love me and who I support and who support me, and I'm able to eat, uh, which a lot of Americans don't realize, like what a rare blessing that is to just have clean drinking water and food. But as long as I have that, like I'm a successful man.
Yeah. And Eric, Whitney Houston, when she took the stage and she went to a concert, you always could tell that when she got to one of her signature songs, especially I Will Always Love You, that was like she had fun with it. When Prince took the stage and he did all his great hits, but when he did Purple Rain, you knew that was his song. That was the song that he loved to do. What is the song Eric Benet loves to do when he's on stage?
One of the songs that I enjoy doing so much, and it's because, and as a songwriter, it's like I almost love all of the songs that I've written equally. So I the barometer for my enjoyment of performing a song is the audience, right? There's a song that I do that the audience just seems to, it does something to them, and it's sometimes I cry. It's like I can tell that the audience is just on that journey with me. And then sometimes I cry is a very demanding song to sing vocally. And
You
at
know
those points,
You know
what
what you're
what
doing. Just stop. You know what you're doing to us when you sing it. So just stop. You
well,
know what
that's part of it. That's part of it. I know. I do know. And it's like I know, like as I start that song, I know, oh man, when I get to the bridge and I hit that note, they're gonna go crazy. So it's like it's so much fun because the audience enjoys it so much, and I like that particular song, like I said, because it really is physically a challenge to sing. Like everybody can't sing that song. Like I hit a note in that song that everybody can't hit that note, and some nights I feel like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to hit that tonight. There's some nights I've had like my voice or my throat through uh, dehydration or maybe too many consecutive shows. I felt like I don't think I'm going to be able to hit that note tonight. But once I feel the energy from the audience, miraculously somehow I'm able to ring that note out like strong and clear, and that's only because of the audience. So I really enjoy singing that song.
Is there a city, Eric, that you played that when you played it, it was different than what you expected? I mean, people go into, for instance, New York, they may go into the Garden, and it could be a little overwhelming. It's the Garden. But have you gone into a venue in a city somewhere and you was expecting one thing, but got something totally opposite?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It reminds me, it's funny that you mentioned the garden because it reminds me of the first time, like when I first came out, hardly anybody knew who Eric Benét was. And I was in New York. And New York audiences are very particular. New York audiences ain't got no shame. If you ain't coming correct, they have no problem with not giving you any love, right? And they will reserve said love until you have proven yourself on that stage. They'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but it's like, okay, if 5 or 10 minutes went by and you ain't moved me yet, I'm gonna cross my arms and I'm gonna just stand here and stare at you, or I'm gonna just turn around and leave. That's New York. So I just remember one of my first performances in New York. I think it was like at SOB, way back in the day.
Yep.
And it was obvious that a lot of people never saw me perform live, and so there was that New York energy in that room when I hit the stage, where it's like, all right, I see this little like trying to be. Look at this barefoot trying to be granola looking. All right, gimmicky ass looking, you know. So so I distinctly remember the shift. Like at some point in that performance, I was getting that vibe, like, you know, the cross my arms, like you better prove something to me or you about to lose me, the audience, to the shift where it's like, wow, from like, okay, maybe this brother has it, to damn, this brother's dope, you know. And then if they love you, they love you like you are theirs for life. And that's I love performing in New York for that reason. I love and then there's other cities that I love performing in because it just seemed like from my first note they were just in love. And that's DC, and that's like Oakland. Like from my first single to the moment I hit the stage the first time in the 90s, it was just like love. And so yeah.
Great.
What about when you go home?
Interesting that you should say that. It's like, I don't know what the quote is, but there's some quote about when the hero goes home or something. Anyway, I'm gonna mess the quote up, but I've never really, like, Milwaukee has never been the city that, you know, always, like, the promoters or the radio or whoever it is in Milwaukee, it's like they've never just been as passionate, I'll say that, as an Oakland or a DC or Houston or, you know, or Chicago even, like, to try to get me back to perform. So I don't know, man.
No love at home.
I won't say I won't say no love at home. I'll just say the love is not as comparable to to the Eric Benét love from not just in other cities in the States, but like in other places in the world. Yeah. But it's all good. I still love my hometown, Milwaukee.
Absolutely. We are talking with the great Eric Benét. This is Fire, Black Press Live. This week is our annual convention, the 193rd anniversary of the Black Press in America, founded by the founders of Freedom's Journal before, Eric, the end of slavery. And they said, we wish to plead our own cause. For too long, others have spoken for us. Anybody can register for that conference. It's free. It's www.virtualnnpa2020.com. It's free, and it's some great stuff we have. And like we said, no better way to kick off the week with Eric Benét. Eric, you often hear artists that are talented in more than one space, like musicians or musician-songwriters, say that they have to be in a different headspace when they're doing one aspect of their work than the other? Is there a distinct difference for you and your approach as a songwriter versus a singer?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think as a songwriter, speaking for myself, it's all about going inward. It's all about silencing everything around me and listening to God, listening to creativity, listening to my inner voice, and taking notes. Basically, that's what it feels like. There's a siren about to go by. I don't know if y'all can still hear me, but
Yeah.
when I write songs, it feels like I am literally dictating some notes that I'm receiving from some celestial place. It's like, oh wow, that melody is dope. Let me try to put that down. Where'd that come from? So, but when I'm performing, it's kind of like the opposite, right? It's kind of like I am receiving the external love, and I'm letting that external love fuel what I'm about to put out. So it's they are kindred energies. They are similar, but they're very different.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of this energy here, because you mentioned you brought up the barefoot, Eric Benét, and just wondering, because I'm sure you were not running around Milwaukee barefoot.
I was
But,
not. I was
and
not.
it just, it just something you just get in the mood, and is that a spiritual journey you're on?
Well, the whole barefoot thing for me happened because when
Patty
I was
LaBelle?
first, what was that?
I said, was it Patty LaBelle?
No, no. I used to love when Patty would do that too. But for me, it was when I was first signed, I wasn't signed as a solo artist. I was signed with my sister to EMI Records, and my sister and I had a record deal. And I was always used to performing, being on stage and looking over to my left, to my right. And my sister was right there. And, you know, and when my sister decided that she didn't want to move forward with trying to get another record deal after we were dropped, and I got my solo deal from Warner Brothers, I have to tell you that those first couple performances as a solo artist, without my sister standing right there by my side, I was beyond nervous, right? So it's like all of a sudden I'm out there by myself. So one of the things that would just calm me down and get me centered was just to take my shoes off. And I would just feel a little bit more grounded. The stage fright wouldn't be as bad. So the first couple times as a solo artist, I went out there bare feet just so I didn't have stage fright so bad that I couldn't sing. and then there was just a reaction to this barefoot brother, and I decided to just keep doing it because it helped me, and the audience seemed to dig it, and that's where that came from.
Eric, we have some questions from those who are watching. Jack Coyle asks a really good question, I think. In my opinion, it's a great question. When you write a song, do you hear your own voice singing, or do you write the song to stand on its own for the voices of other vocal artists?
Wow. Can I tell you something? I've been in this business for like 30 some years, and that's the first time I got that question. That's a good question. So I really have to think about it. And now that I'm thinking about it, when a melody hits me, yeah, I guess I'm hearing the melody and the direction that it should go, but when I'm receiving the message, so to speak, it's not really my voice.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I don't necessarily hear my own voice in inception of the song.
Emilio Santana wants to know, were you cool with Prince?
Um, I have only two Prince story. Like did not know Prince. I didn't kick it with Prince. I have two stories of when Prince and I like met and interacted. Um, and the first one was, I guess, I'm
did
trying
you
to
play basketball and make pancakes?
Nah, no Charlie Murphy Prince story for me. But the first one was, uh, he was in a club and I was there. I think it was after one of his gigs, and I just, I'm about to lie on myself right now because I told you earlier in this interview, if I saw somebody like Prince or Luther Vandross and Stevie, I wouldn't necessarily walk up to them. But for whatever reason, this night, maybe it was because I had some drinks and my band members were with me and they were like, bruh, that's Prince. I thought, shoot, let me take this shot. I'm gonna go over there and say hi to Prince. So I just kind of, I remember like it was yesterday, distinctly what he said to me. I walked over to him and he was so gracious. Um, of course, I had to approach his bodyguard first, and he looked over.
Now you got to tell us what he said in his voice.
Okay, I will. And he motioned that I could come over, and I was just like, "Sir," I think I called him sir. I said, "I don't want to bother you. I just want to thank you because not only for me, but to so many singers that will come after me and so many musicians that will come after me, I just want to say thank you because you have influenced me and us so much." And that's all I want to say. I'm gonna head back over there with my band. And he said in his Prince voice, he said, "Man, let me tell you something. Brother, you didn't need me. I heard your music. You didn't need me." I was like, whoa, that's deep. That's deep right there.
Wow.
And so, and the other time, he actually he saw me in the audience at one of his concerts and pulled me on stage briefly, but that was it. I didn't really know Prince, but
Yeah.
what a loss. What a loss.
Yeah, and that segues right into the question to follow up with that. There's been so many big losses in the industry. Prince, of course, being one of the biggest, if for many the biggest, right? Of course, Michael, Whitney. When that happens, when you hear about your fellow artists like that, these megastars, dying really young, how does that affect you, Eric, as an artist?
I mourn all of the gifts that we will not be receiving from them. I think of course I mourn for their families and how painful it must be for them, but then I think I mourn in a very selfish way. I think I mourn selfishly. I mourn because, like, we all know Prince wasn't done musically. Like and we know Michael wasn't done either. But I think even more so Prince. Like, I know, like, Prince, with everything going on in the world right now, both politically, uh, uh, socially, and us all having a starvation for content and music right now. Prince is exactly what we need right now. And can you imagine, like the load of the last 4 months would have seemed just a little lighter if we had some brand new Prince music out right now. So it's like, I mourn for that. It's like, man, we all still need you. Like, damn, God, why did you take him now? So I don't know. It just hurts. It just hurts.
Yeah. So Eric, we know we're going to have to let you go in about 10 minutes, as enjoyable as this is. But I wanted to, well, before I swing it back to Cheryl, there is one other question I do have. We're a news organization, and we wouldn't be doing our jobs if we didn't ask you if you had something to say about what's happening to young Black men and women in America right now.
You know what, man? I just think it's beyond enraging and beyond, like, when I really think about it, I am apoplectic. I am like enraged that it is 2020. It is 2020, my brother. And I remember being 10, 12 years old, imagining what the world would be like in 2020. When you're a 12-year-old, I thought we would have flying cars. I thought we would have moving, you know, sidewalk and be able to go to the moon in moon hotels and all this stuff. And it's 2020 and we can't get past Black people having equity. We can't get past the cops indiscriminately murdering my brothers and children. And it is still this gross what word am I looking for? Just like separation of reality.
Yeah.
There's a bubble that a large majority of this country is living in, that they just don't get it. They don't understand, why are those people so upset? You had a Black president, so racism is over. It's infuriating, man, that just for my own humanity, for me to have humanity, for me to just feel like you see me as a man for my deeds and my words before you see me for my color. It's just like, what is it going to take?
Yeah.
Like, other than, I guess, perseverance. And it seems that we are going through so much now, not just as a country, but as a global struggle, with inclusion, with equity, with wealth inequality. It seems as though we have the worst possible president for the worst possible time. And there's one remedy for that. And that is, come November, we're going to have to make a change. And I'm just not talking about, we got to get that asshole Trump out of the White House, but we got to do more than that. We got to flip the Senate. We got to dominate the House. We got to dominate the Senate so that we can actually push change through. And I think that's just going to come by perseverance. The pendulum swung hard the other way after Barack Obama, but I'm hoping that this unmeasurable amount of state-sponsored negativity, it's going to motivate people, and hopefully more than the usual 60% of only 60% of people who go vote, which is extremely frustrating. More than 60% needs to vote, because that's pretty much our running average. Only about 60% of registered people who could qualify as registered voters, only 60% of them go vote. So it's like, yo, man, even if we get it up to like 65% or 70%, I think I would be happy. But we got to do something, and we can't get excited by looking at these recent polls right now. You know, polls have been wrong. Polls right now have Joe, like, depending on the poll, between 10 and 12% over Trump's average. We can't rest on our laurels with that one.
Yeah.
We gotta go vote as if it's neck and neck.
A
So
very reflective Eric Benét. you, you kind of surprised us with such deep insight there. You know, changing the mood a little bit. Have you written any songs for your children?
I write songs for my children all the time. I like, but even not just songs for my children. I actually write stories for my children, which which I'm actually going to start. Which is my daughter, my 8-year-old daughter Lucia. She told me the other day, because I shouldn't say I write stories. I just, when it comes bedtime, we'll sit down, they'll get in bed, and I'll just like make up a story. And the stories are actually pretty elaborate, and they have characters and they have voices, and there's like there's like a narrative, there's like a purpose to the story. And I haven't been writing them down. And my daughter Lucia said, Daddy, that last story you told us about, you know, the little boy with the dog, and then the dog could fly, and they took him to Hawaii, and you really should write that down and put some illustrations for that, because a lot of kids would really like that book. And I'm like, you know what, Lucia, you're right. I think I will write that book down. So
Wow.
I need to stop just like off the dome flowing and write some of these stories down.
So here's what we're gonna do, Eric. We're gonna let Cheryl get at least one more, well, her last question in, and then I want you to tell everybody, remind everyone where they can see you and John B this Wednesday. And then we're going to go out with one of your classics. But before that, we're gonna let Cheryl ask her question.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
it's been
Cheryl.
a, you know, and I hear you saying this, you know, we've lost some greats, but I've also heard profound statements from you that say, we say why this person is gone, but we also see why you're here. And then for Lilith, for her to tell you, she's telling you, she's speaking truth to power into you. And out of the mouth of babes, that's all I can say. So that's really significant. And I wanted to know what your thoughts were on things. And just as we're dealing and seeing a lot of your contemporaries who are speaking out more and saying, hey, enough is enough. And we have to realize, because we don't see that side. We don't see the side of he's gone, but Tupac talked about the importance of hope. But they never wanted to show that side. And so we say, thank God for the Black press, because we did. And just like we'll
Yes.
share this message that you have today.
Thank you. Thank you for being a platform for artists and people like me to get the word out, a word that needs to be contagious, and the word that's empowering, and the word that we as Black people need to not be fooled, hold everyone in government accountable. Truth matters, facts matters, science matters, and Black lives matter. And thank you for being the platform that you are.
And once again, Eric Benét, the great Eric Benét, tell us about Wednesday and Eric After Dark.
Eric After Dark is going to set a new standard for what streaming live concerts are. I think we've seen the last 4 months of what's out there. I'm taking it to another level, and I welcome my contemporaries to try to come up to my level, because it's going to be incredible, from the sound to the production to the artists who are on, to the consciousness. You know, there's an interview segment of Eric After Dark too, and we talk about a lot of dope things like we've been talking about here this last hour. So I think entertainment is awesome, but entertainment without substance in this environment is, in my opinion, tone deaf. So that's what Eric After Dark is bringing.
Wow, it sounds great.
8 p.m. 8 p.m. Wednesday Pacific Standard Time. You got to see me, John B. You got to see the incomparable Shalea. She's amazing. You're gonna love her. So there it is.
And where do they see it again? One more time. Where at?
You can go to ericafterdark.com.
Eric After Dark.
Eric with a C.
Eric with a C. Afterdark.com. You have been watching Fire Black Press Live with the great Eric Benét, kicking off our celebratory week of activity, the 80th anniversary of the National Newspaper Publishers Association and the 193rd year of the Black Press of America. And we got some great surprises. Log in, www.virtualnnpa2020.com. You're going to hear from so many people, including Stephanie Mills, Carlos Santana, Salt and Pepper, and others. We will see you soon. Eric Benét, thanks so much. Everybody stay well and stay safe.
God bless you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Eric.